All right, Roadhouse is an action film starring Jake Gyllenhaal as Elwood Dalton.
Your name reminds me of that Johnny Cash song.
Oh yeah, which one?
A Boy Named Sue.
He's a professional bouncer. No, that would make too much sense. He's a disgraced UFC mixed martial artist, because of course he is. He's hired to clean up a violent bar called the Double Deuce. The Roadhouse. They called it the Roadhouse.
Why is it called the Roadhouse?
That's a joke. It's a roadhouse, but it's called the Road House. Get it?
All right, fine. He's hired to clean up the Roadhouse, a quaint cabana bar for tourists that also happens to be incredibly violent, in a small southern community in Key West, Florida.
Sure. Why not?
Well, unfortunately, this video is not going to be a celebration of the 1989 cult classic Roadhouse.
No! Boo! Boo!
But rather a strict condemnation of the 2024 remake. A movie so awful, so unapologetically stupid.
He's stupid.
That it could only have come from the fine folks at Amazon. Here's the setup for Roadhouse 2024 in a nutshell. Frankie, the owner of a rough and tumble bar in Glass Key, a fictional community located in the Florida Keys, needs help. Her roadhouse is being terrorized on a regular basis and she's finally had enough. A friend suggests she hire an underground fighter named Carter Ford, a tattooed cage champ played by the physically intimidating Post Malone. Alright, we're off to a good start. But Frankie changes her mind after seeing Carter get scared off by the mere presence of Elwood Dalton, a former UFC middleweight fighter who fixes stab wounds with duct tape. She offers Dalton a job as a bouncer at her bar.
I can pay you good money, $5K a week, just for a month, and I can put you up.
But he politely declines as he's planned a busy night of sleeping at gas stations and maybe sorta kinda not really deleting himself by parking on train tracks.
Maybe not.
I never thought I'd say it, but the original Roadhouse actually has a sense of realism. Elwood operates like a superhero, taking a knife to the torso and barely noticing. He travels across the country and pummels a biker gang before letting a doctor look at it.
What's wrong with you?
Swayze's James Dalton gets cut breaking up a fight and has to immediately stitch that shit up. He's tough and resourceful, not downright stupid like Elwood.
Oh, okay.
Swayze's James is also approached with a similar offer from Frank Tillman.
I have a little club outside of Kansas City called the Double Deuce.
Frank runs a bar that has become burdened by a bad element.
It used to be a sweet deal. Now it's the kind of place that they sweep up the eyeballs after closing.
He's planning big things for the Double Deuce and needs someone who knows what he's doing to come in and
clean the place up. I need the best.
I run the show. Completely.
James Dalton agrees to do it because, that's his job. That's what he does. So why is Elwood going out to unsanctioned fights to make money but not interested in Frankie's generous proposition?
I'm all booked up. Sorry.
Excuse me?
There's literally no reason for him to do one if he's not going to do the other. And why the fuck was it necessary to change his name from James to Elwood? Anyway, after pussing out playing chicken with a train, Elwood decides that a trip to the Florida Keys is in order, because this plot is going to get resolved one way or another, damn it. In the original, we had the Double Deuce, or the Double Douche, as Wade Garrett would say. It was a location with character, a setting that established itself as rough and dirty and downright dangerous. It was a character unto itself. It evolved over the course of the movie as James and his band of merry men, his brawny bouncers, worked together and cleaned house. What do we get in 2024? We get a feckless, straw-roofed tourist trap of a bar with zero character. The Roadhouse. The fucking Roadhouse.
Get it?
That's it. That's all we get. A pointless prop that doesn't evolve, but rather devolves, being destroyed bit by bit as the plot sees fit. Frankie says she has plans for the place, that she sees something that could be really special.
I think this place could be something really special.
But we never see her do anything to achieve that. We're never told what her plans are. There's never any emphasis placed on the direction she's planning on taking. She didn't even build the place, but rather inherited it from her uncle.
That is correct. But as soon as this is clear and we...
Little elbow grease?
It's gonna be good as new.
Frank Tillman, on the other hand, is actually building something with the Double Deuce. Sure, he's had to make some shady deals to get what he wants, but at least he's doing something. His character and his bar are vital parts of the story. But Frankie? She's full of empty words that serve to justify her existence in the script and check off boxes in Amazon Studios' inclusion playbook. Imagine how much better this movie would have been if she was actually a strong character with aspirations she was working toward. Elwood Dalton is a psychopath. It's not even debatable. Let's summarize. Elwood Dalton is a former UFC fighter who, spoilers, kills his competitor/friend/whatever in a fit of rage, which now haunts him 24/7. It torments him, and he's afraid of what happens when he lets go, when he relinquishes control and lets his anger out.
Oh, what's that over there?
What happens? Well, it seems like when he lets go, he becomes a mass-murdering basket case who endangers his kidnapped love interest by blowing up the boat in which she is being held captive. I mean, Jesus! This dude kills a guy, crams him in a cooler, and then uses his body in a poorly thought-out setup of a corrupt cop, who, by the very next scene, has already revealed Elwood's actions to the even more corrupt sheriff. His response?
Oh. Shit.
He also has experience with explosives, apparently, as is the case with most UFC fighters. Krav Maga, Jiu-Jitsu, wiring explosives for remote detonation, this all checks out. What's the equivalent of a Mary Sue character for men? Gary Stu, Barry Sue, Elwood Dalton? Just for shits and giggles, let's contrast this with Swayze's James Dalton. James is a cooler, a head bouncer who moves from town to town to help establish security at bars that lack leadership.
I think it's time for you gentlemen to leave.
He's tormented by the fact that he killed a man, in self-defense.
I can't believe you're still dragging that shit around with you. It seems to me you'd be a little more philosophical about it. And cut it the fuck loose.
He was hoodwinked by an adulterous woman, and her jealous husband pulled a gun, so he acted to save his own life and accidentally killed the guy.
When a man sticks a gun in your face, you got two choices. You can die or you can kill the motherfucker.
But despite the pain he carries around for his past actions, James Dalton manages to live his life and stay calm in the face of adversity. He's no superhero. He can't take on 5 guys in a fistfight all at once. He depends on the help of his fellow bouncers and his friends. He's a regular guy in a dangerous profession. He struggles to put his past behind him and remain detached. It's not personal.
But you and I know that isn't so, don't we?
He's also a student of philosophy who lives by a code.
If somebody gets in your face and calls you a cocksucker, I want you to be nice. Until it's time to not be nice.
What does Elwood live by?
Don't forget to lift with your knees. Live with my knees.
But here's the kicker. Here's the crucial bit. James has, on at least 2 occasions in his life, and acting in self-defense, ripped the throats out of 2 men who were going to shoot him.
Ripped his throat right out.
Oh, shit.
And as crazy as that sounds, as bonkers as that idea is, ripping someone's throat out, it's still nowhere near as nuts as Elwood is in the 2024 remake. James doesn't lose his cool until, spoilers, Brad Wesley has his goons kill Wade Garrett. Elwood loses his shit when a couple people he's known for all of 5 minutes have their bookstore burned to the ground.
Hey, not safe in there. Where's the little girl? The little girl and her father. Ambulance took him to the hospital. Now get out of there.
Fuck. Settle down, dummy. Elwood's love interest in Roadhouse is the beautiful but ultimately forgettable Dr. Ellie, who exists solely to dump exposition and act superior.
Conk.
Sorry, what?
She doesn't even give us a happy ending.
Go.
Rightly so, to be fair. She can see that Elwood is an unhinged lunatic and she doesn't want anything to do with him. Guy is nuts.
I'm sorry.
But anyone who has seen both the 1989 original and the 2024 remake knows that she's really only here so the screenwriter could shoehorn this bit of wisdom into the movie.
You ever win?
No one ever wins a fight.
Do you ever win a fight?
Nobody ever wins a fight.
Then why do you do it?
Dr. Elizabeth, however, does indeed give us a happy ending, as well as plot and character development.
Do you enjoy pain?
Pain don't hurt.
File says you've got a degree from NYU. What in?
Philosophy.
And tension.
Who's this for anyway? You doing it for them?
And
You think you're gonna save these people from Brad Wesley? Well, who's gonna save them from you?
ultimately, both versions of Roadhouse are about the same thing. A Roadhouse owner enlists the help of a tough guy to help deal with trouble at a bar, and gets caught up helping a small town free themselves from the clutches of a greedy businessman with nefarious intentions. The problem with the 2024 remake is that, just like the Roadhouse itself, the town is superficial and we never build a connection with the people living there.
You're welcome.
When Elwood arrives in Glass Key, he meets Charlie and her father Stephen. There's a bit of a trite backstory for them, something about Stephen working multiple jobs and neglecting his child whose mother died, and now she's indifferent and apathetic to the loss, and Jesus fucking Christ, this is depressing.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Shit happens.
Anyway, outside of Charlie and Stephen, we don't really meet any of the locals. There's the people who work at the bar, all of whom are one-dimensional and boring as hell. There's the dock worker, who has a line or two about a crocodile, who actually would have been an interesting character to develop. There's Mo, the lonely biker who has a crush on Elwood, who actually would have been an interesting character to develop. And that's about it. We don't spend enough time with any of these characters to care about them, and we don't really get any grasp on how they're all affected by the likes of Ben Brandt. We just know that Ben has a gang and they go around acting like assholes because real estate development. Blech. When we compare this to the original, we really see how much deeper the storytelling is. And yes, I'm aware that I'm talking about the 1989 movie Roadhouse. Before watching the remake, I would have said the original was a campy, poorly acted, catchphrase-riddled amusement park ride of a movie with no real substance. That's how bad the remake is. It's made me look at the original like it belongs with the likes of Citizen Kane. In the original movie, we had local business owner Red Webster, farmer and landlord Emmett.
I swear he does that just to piss me off.
That dude who had his car dealership destroyed. Among others. We had a regular musician at the Double Deuce in the form of Jeff Healey's Cody, a character that helped paint Dalton's backstory. He wasn't a nameless set piece or prop like the bar bands of 2024. And we had Carrie Ann, a waitress who was tough enough to survive the Roadhouse, with a sense of humor and professional aspirations. In 2024, we get this as her counterpart.
I was gonna leave after that, but
Thank you for the food.
Unlike Charlie and Stephen's glass books, Red Webster, the uncle of Dr. Elizabeth, actually served a purpose in the story. His business, along with every business in town, was being terrorized and extorted by Brad Wesley and his goons. Red's interactions with Brad served to illustrate how they were all being abused by a self-serving tyrant. We get slight hints of this in the 2024 remake, but nothing overt. Nothing that really paints a cohesive picture of Ben Brandt's influence over Glass Key. I actually like Conor McGregor as Knox. Acting isn't his strong suit, but he does the best he can with this absolute garbage fire of a movie.
That's where you're wrong, lad.
Nothing about his character makes sense, but there's something about him that's entertaining as hell to watch. Maybe it's how he's always walking like Popeye, or crashing his stolen cars instead of using the brakes, or that psychotic look on his face. Knox is definitely more menacing than Marshall Teague's Jimmy Reno.
I got a message for you. From your father.
Who is less developed as a character than Conor McGregor's chaotic psychopath. Both characters serve their purpose by acting as foil to the protagonist. Jimmy's martial arts mirrors James, as Knox's crazed madman mirrors Elwood. The relationship between each is arguably the best part of each movie, which is why it's unfortunate that the remake couldn't mirror the original in terms of realism during the fights. In the original, it felt like we were really watching Swayze fight Teague, albeit in a very acrobatic and dance-inspired choreography. Gyllenhaal and McGregor's bouts are frenetic and CGI-laden chores to watch, tuned about as well as that piano.
This piano's out of tune.
Sounds pretty good to me.
It's hard to be intimidated by a villain as retarded and ineffective as Ben Brandt. What was the goal here? Why is he so fucking stupid? Our introduction to Brandt is during a meeting with his gang aboard his private yacht. And just like Frankie, he didn't do anything to earn what he has. He inherited it from his incarcerated father. Brandt is trying to get a shave, unsuccessfully, in choppy waters, as his goons talk back and openly disrespect him.
Can someone just tell me or remind me whose idea was it to hire these dumb fucks in the first place?
Yours, boss.
We're led to believe that he's had these biker goons terrorizing the Roadhouse for months, repeating the same tactics with no results. Ben should never have been the antagonist of the film. Arguably, he's not. You could make a case that the real antagonist is actually Knox, especially considering how Ben is dispatched at the end of the movie. A better movie would have further developed the relationship between Ben and his father, perhaps making him the true big bad of the story. He clearly has some kind of relationship with Knox. Wouldn't it have been great to expand on that aspect of the story? Brad Wesley, on the other hand, is a complex and interesting character. While not the best villain in cinematic history, he's intriguing and earns the disapproval of the audience. He's a war veteran who gives himself credit for building up Jasper.
You know, when I came to this town after Korea, there was nothing. I brought the mall here. I got the 7-Eleven. I got the photomat here. Christ, J.C. Penney is coming here because of me. You ask anybody, they'll tell you.
You've gotten rich off of the people in this town.
You bet your ass I have. And I'm gonna get richer.
He thinks he deserves to be rich and powerful because of what he's done for the town, for what he's done for his country.
Don't you forget it. Let's go, Jimmy.
He looks down on Red Webster because he's a draft dodger. There's a reason for the animosity between them and why he's willing to burn Red's auto parts to the ground. Why does Brandt burn down glass books? To intimidate Dalton? Even though he has the police on his payroll and could easily have just killed him without thinking twice about it?
I don't think so.
Brad Wesley has been taking advantage of the locals for years, becoming a monster that everyone in Jasper resents and fears. using his power to get what he wants, no matter the cost. Which is why his comeuppance is so satisfying.
This is our town, and don't you forget it.
While Ben Brant's is limp and forgettable. I had to watch Roadhouse 2024 3 times to make this video.
See what I mean? It's really painful.
And I still have unanswered questions like,
You were never here. I got you covered.
what?
Hey, you was right. That was mad therapeutic. Yeah, but remember, live with your knees.
Are you fucking kidding me? And why am I making a video about this shit movie?
Bomb.
But at the end of the day, none of this should have been a surprise. This straight-to-streaming debacle was made by Amazon, a company that got rich off of making shitty knockoffs of original products.
It takes a lot to get me angry, but when I am, I just can't let go. I wish I could.
And that's exactly what we got with Roadhouse.
All right. Who's gonna tell me what the hell happened here?
I didn't see nothing. You see anything, Pete?
No, I didn't see anything. You see anything, Red?
I didn't see nothing. Not a thing. You see anything, Tinker?